Welcome back. Just before the break, we were talking about Rohingyans and their statelessness in Burma or Myanmar. Yes, sir. About their statelessness you wanted to talk about, and can you just a bit of history? When did it start? I mean, this condition that they are citizens, they are deprived of the citizenship.
This is a very systematic procedure going on in Burma. The way they are conducting is they're trying to minimize the number of Muslim citizenships and leaving Muslim alone. For example, the citizenship process starts when you are in when we are in government schools. So they will announce we are going to give citizenship cards to the children, and when we approach, they say no, not Muslims. You Muslim go to the government offices. So when we go to the government office, it takes ages. It needs a lot of, we need to bribe them, we need to give them so many documents. It is a very uphill task to apply citizenship for a Muslim in Burma.
But even if you go through all those tasks, do you get the citizenship?
You will get after you paying a lot of bribe as well.
Right.
And in many cases, people can't afford it. And some people don't have enough document the way they've been asking. So one of the requirement is, in order to become a citizen of Burma, you need to prove that your parents has been, your ancestors has been living in Burma before 1823.
And it's very difficult to prove because
there
you don't
isn't
have
any
the papers,
document exist that time. So that means you don't get citizenship in Burma.
You go to British Museum.
Yes, that's how they intend to do. So the key point here is the Muslims are ended up without citizenships.
Right.
And when anything happened, these people, for example, like Rohingya people, when they have to flee to Bangladesh, they cannot come back anymore because they don't have any citizenship.
How do they prove that they came from there?
But actually, for the Rohingya people, let me tell you something. The NVC process they've been put into as an obstacle for the Rohingya to return. But actually, this NVC is a process to make Rohingya as a foreigner.
What is NVC?
Nationality Verification Card. This nationality verification card is a requirement. Now, recently, Burmese government invented for the Rohingya to repatriate. Actually, this is a process to making Rohingya become foreigners.
Well, was this card ever issued?
So the reason they give you is they give us is, how do we know the one who returning to Burma is a Burmese?
True.
So what they do, what they have been doing from 1994, they has been scrutinizing and checking every household in January. Every January, the authority visit every household, and they collect the data of how many person we live in this house, their age, and also how many cattle, how many cats or dogs or animal that household belongs.
Like the property and all.
They check everything. That's every year, and they took the picture of the family. And we launched a report on July 15, 2019 this year about this report, NVC card, National Verification Card. This is unnecessary process they're doing because they have a record each and every Rohingya, where do they live, how long, how many family members they have, how many names and age and detail everything. So they don't need any process to accept these people. They know who is a Burmese citizens or not. So this is a process they intentionally making that Rohingya to become a foreigners. So the point they want to do is Rohingya become a foreigner the way the criteria
according to their rules here.
Their rules. So Rohingya is not accepting that. They are ethnic of Burma. They belong this land. They are children of the Arakan states. So they will never accept that. So that's an obstacle created by the and this is based on 1982 citizenship law. And in fact, 1982 citizenship law didn't say to make the requirement of NVC card, but this is the invention of the Burmese government to create an obstacle for the Rohingya not to return to Burma.
In 1982, we keep talking about. What has happened after that? That, I mean, nobody objected. The international community kept quiet about this.
I mean, the awareness of international community only started after 2012 anti-Muslim pogroms in Rakhine State, in other part of Burma. So then they start looking at the Rohingya. But Rohingya issues has been well known those who are human rights community and diplomats, and it is not that much publicly, cried out that the way which we have now. So there isn't much political pressure on Burmese government, and during the democratic reforms, this become an excuse for the Burmese government. They try to give this excuse not to stop the genocide going on. So this is exactly, actually, this is a genocide. It's a very clear indication there. Yeah, the people cannot travel from their village. They cannot have more than 2 child. They cannot have they cannot easily marry. They have to apply for to marry any wife. So these are the conditions. And the education, one of the worst situation is education and healthcare. In many part of Burma, inside Burma, around 600 people has one nurse or doctors. But in Rakhine State, there are 15,000 people have one in Rohingya area, what I'm talking about. So they don't have a proper healthcare system. That means they created situation that the people have, malnutrition and facing malnutrition and acute malnutrition for the children. Our report came out in 2017, and that time the UN says that nearly 80,000 children are facing life-threatening malnutritions. 80,000 children.
80,000 children.
So imagine that was the 2017 we launched a report. So now these children and their family, most of them, they left Burma, but still there are nearly 500,000 to 600,000 Rohingya remain in Burma. And their situation is not people many talking about yet, because they don't have any humanitarian aid. Now look at there is a civil war is going on in northern Rakhine State, and government has putting all the measures to block all the aid. So how could these people will survive?
True.
And beside that, there are a lot of landmines and artillery shellings and on hitting those villages. So they are in a really dangerous situation, those who are in northern Rakhine State they are living.
This is the plight of the Muslims,
unfortunately.
Rohingyans, Muslims, see. But we were talking about, and you mentioned that there are other minorities in
Absolutely.
Burma.
There are many minorities.
There are non-Muslim
there are Muslim minorities and non-Muslim minorities as well. For example, non-Muslim minority like Kachin peoples, those who are in northern Rakhine State, northern Burma, and the Shan, they are Buddhist, but they are ethnic Shan peoples, and they are also fighting against the military operations in Burma. The Karen, as well, they are Christians and Muslim Buddhists, they are fighting against the Burmese operations. And in Rakhine State now, is well known on the Arkan army is fighting against the Burmese military. And in northern side, there are a few alliances as well. They call TNLA, and there's also called Wa, ethnic Wa as well. So these are they are very harmony relation, very good strong relation with the China, and they are getting stronger, and they are now in a way that they are facing a lot of challenges with Burmese government and the military, and they have well resources. They have well resourced and well funded, and they have a strong position to defend themselves. But not like Rohingya. Rohingya has nothing. Rohingya community has no army, no any defense. So they are the most vulnerable people. So other minorities like Burmese Muslims, in Karen states and Mon state, there are hundreds of thousands of Muslims in that area. They
suffer the same fate.
At least 70% of them has no citizenships. So once you have no citizenships, you cannot be graduated. The education is very difficult for that people. They cannot own any properties. They cannot even own a motorbike. You cannot own anything. So the situation is, you can compare in the long run.
But can he find a job?
If you don't have any citizenship card, it's difficult. And beside that, even in big city like Rangoon, being a Muslim is not easy to get a job. We have so many evidences we are collecting. There are so many Muslim women and young people, those who are graduated, but they cannot find a job. They try to apply the job and they pass all the tests. When there is a face-to-face meeting, the interviewer knows that they are Muslim, then they always gone rejected. And there are many properties in Burma, in Rangoon, even Rangoon. They clearly said that we are not going to sell to Muslims. And those who are developing those area also have to sign that they will not sell to Muslims. And there are 24 locations in Burma where Muslims are not allowed to go. They clearly put the signpost, Muslims are not allowed. And there are 3 rules. No one shall rent or sell any properties to Muslims. Muslims are not allowed to stay overnight. And no one shall marry to Muslim. So these 3 rules strictly apply in these 24 areas, locations. And government is not doing anything to stop this.
Why is this sort of fear against Muslims or hate against Muslims or kind of discrimination, particularly Muslims, it seems, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. If I may say that the idea of the anti-Muslim sentiment is not natural with Burmese people.
True.
This is not Burmese.
Yeah, where does it begin?
They are very simple and kind and nice people. And this comes from the political elite class who implemented this poisonous ideology through proxy and religious institutions and through using so many framing. Like there was a book imported from India or Sri Lanka in 90s. There was a lot of fabricated half-truth history to portray Muslim as a threat.
Okay, sir, we need to take a break here, and we will retrace our steps back to Arakan.
Sure.
Thank you for being with us. We'll be back after this very short break. Thank you.